G'day everyone, my name is Broderick Floyd from Mark Floyd Funeral Services in Euroa. I just thought I'd put together a little video after I had a chat with Nigel tonight about how to use the new Registry of Births, Deaths and Marriages system, because I dare say a few of you are still probably having some dramas getting things into the system. Now this of course doesn't change that what comes out from the registry's end might be a little bit less than ideal, but after I had a family complain to the Ombudsman, I had the head person of the new system ring me back and actually coach me through some of the errors I was making, because I didn't have any of my registrations even making it in because of the really difficult to navigate nature of the system that they have. So I'll just go through and show you all how it's done. I'll go very basic from the start because of course not everyone is as computer savvy as everyone else. So the first thing you do is open up your browser. I have the Registry of Births, Deaths and Marriages portal saved as one of my favorites up here. So I click on that and it'll have a think about it and then bring up the thing. We log in. Of course, the thing, it's got its instructions here, which are worse than useless, but why would you provide adequate training? So what you're supposed to do here is go up to Death Registration Statement and New, and that will bring you up into the screen here. But what I've done is actually pre-started one with my information in it. So it's in my drafts here, and it's just got everything about me in here. Of course, I won't submit it because I don't really want to make a false statement, but it will suit my purposes for this. So you start at the top, and as it does for most of the surnames it requires, it will ask you what your family name and your birth family name is. This of course makes a lot of sense for ladies, but was previously done by presuming that if you were a lady and your parents had a different surname to you, that was probably your birth surname. So it's just to double check that, although it is a little bit clunky that it's in 3 vertical boxes rather than Floyd, yes, no. This box could be up here and then it would tidy it all up, but I've decided to make it as visually confronting as possible and as clunky to use as they possibly can. So we go through and put in all those things. Of course, I know it's frustrating that you have to click on this box and then this box and then this box to put in a date, and you also have to put the 0 before the 4. Every other computer system is smart enough to figure out that if you put in a 4, it means April, and that 0, 4 and 4 mean the same thing, but not the births, deaths and marriages. And we keep going through it. Now it defaults to, when you pop in those things, it will actually auto-populate the age, which it wasn't doing originally. Now, a thing that might be tripping a few of you up is you'll see the boxes here that have asterisks next to them. They're supposed to be the ones that are compulsory, and you'll see here that if you click where did the death occur other, location here doesn't have one. But if you tried to submit this form, it would come up with one of the little error boxes over here on the right. And often, if it's a coroner's case and you know that someone passed away at a street address, or you know they passed away in a town but you don't know exactly where because the coroner's disposal order doesn't say where someone died, and you don't really feel like making a phone call to them, what I'm doing is just putting in unknown, because unknown gets you around the obstacle of it having a blank box that it won't let you submit. I know that most of you that will be pretty basic, but for those of you who are having trouble, if you've got a box and you don't have anything to put in it, just whack unknown in it. It makes it pretty easy to do. So you go through there and all those bits and pieces. Now, as we know, for the occupation thing here, I usually do it and don't click through every box. I use the tab button, which if you're typing and you hit tab, it will go down to the next box in the tab order. So it will keep on going down the page. Now the problem with that is once you get to this box, it won't allow you, it would be where I would start typing, for example, funeral director, FU, and it would go to the part in the list that was FU, but it won't let you do that. So what you've got to do is, if you've tabbed from unknown, down you tab, and it selects the box, you've got to hit space before it will allow you to put in anything there. Now, of course, the big thing we're all finding is what happens if you have an occupation that doesn't exist according to the system. Well, you're basically screwed. There's no way around that. I'm sorry about that. You're just going to have to send them an email. But yeah, that's the joys of the system. Why would you why would you have something that worked? That would make too much sense. So we go through here. Now, one of the eccentricities of the system is that if you're married, despite it wanting the birth surnames and the current surnames of all your children, it doesn't actually want the birth surname of your husband or wife. So I just got married 2 months ago, almost to the day, and it doesn't want my wife's maiden name. I don't know why. It's just weird, but good on them. When you get to children, often, as you know, when you're arranging a funeral, people don't know their siblings or their children's dates of birth, or they know it approximately to the year, like they'll give you May 1957. So the easy thing to do there is to go to the date type, exact date or range, click unknown, and then if you do, your computer system is like mine and you can work out that someone's 67 is where I would type in 67, 6, my stepdaughter's 6, so I'll put it in there, and years, and that will get it through. Again, it doesn't want to know your wife's maiden name, but it wants to know your mum's and your dad's. Why it doesn't default to yes for father, I don't know, but even if it just defaulted to that box, it would make it simpler and quicker to go through, because I did a count and there's something like somewhere around a third or a half more boxes that we have to click through or fill in between the old system and new, which is lots of fun. So we get to informant details, you pop in all those bits and pieces. The big thing, of course, I know a lot of people will be having trouble with, is the phone numbers. Why they don't have a system that can automatically, like your mobile phone does, when someone rings you from a +61 something number and you save it into your phone or phone, it can figure it out and it's got the smarts to do it. Why we have to do that in our brains and it can't do it at what we call the back end. We put the information into the front end, it turns it to something in the back end. Why that can't work out properly, I don't know. Why they decided to put that in is just emblematic of the mindset of the people creating it, but that's the way it is. The thing to do is +61 before everything if it's an Australian number, and any number, just take the O off the front of it. So for mobile numbers, instead of 04, you just put 4, then whatever it is. And for landlines, you put in the state code as well. So 03 for Victoria, 02 for New South Wales, but you get rid of the O and just 3, whatever it is. Disposal details. Again, just why, when you get to method of disposal, why wouldn't you have buried above body donation? Now, body donation happens, but it doesn't. So if I tab to this box, hit tab, and hit B, goes defaults to body donation. Why is beyond me. But, you know, why would you have, if I was making this box, I'd have burial, cremation, and then I'd put in the other bits down the bottom here because they're whilst used, are very rare. And then of course you've got to pop in the cremation and things like that. Got this new box that they cremated within 30 days of death. If you click no, then you've got to attach some kind of a document that we've never been told about before, but good on them. Of course, you can select a cemetery from the list. Let's say I'll use my good old Euroa cemetery. But you can select the cemetery from the list, but it won't auto-populate the address. It knows that there's a cemetery, but it doesn't know its address. Anyway, I digress. And the postcode of the cemetery. 3,000. Again, it reckons it's not compulsory, but if you try and enter it without it, it doesn't. So I just lie half the time, but that's between you, me, and the gatepost. If you want to type in to Google, get your phone book out, that's great. Of course, it's got your funeral director details, death certificate. You'll want to, it goes through here for the, if you click coroner, it just wants to know where the coroner is located, but doctor, it wants you to put in all things. The really frustrating box here is, of course, business name. Yep. If you're a doctor at a hospital, you don't have a business name. Why it's compulsory is beyond me. Again, unknown. Or if you're feeling really, you can put the name of the hospital or nursing home, or the doctor's clinic if it is one, something like that. But again, a bit of a redundant box. Why they don't have it hooked up with a system where if you put in the APRA number, it doesn't auto-populate the rest of it, or at least give you the name, and then you can pop in address, because in case it's a doctor that works across several clinics or locations is beyond me. But you know, why they can't populate it off this is beyond me. So then what you have to keep doing, and I found is the trick to this is was always just hitting order a certificate or next. Make sure you keep on hitting save as draft. For some reason, it wants to know that. And of course, when you do that, it loads the page and tells you all the errors you've made. So as I've gone through here, because I hadn't filled in the cemetery before, it wants to know the thing. So I'm just gonna cheat and put unknown, 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 just to show you how effective it is at getting past hurdles. But of course, you would put in the address of the cemetery, unless of course you don't feel like it. Because on the old system, all it asked for was the name of the cemetery. It actually didn't care about any of the other things, and even though it doesn't have little asterisks next to it saying that it's essential, it of course is. And as I said, it needs to know the business name of the doctor. If they're working at a public hospital, they ain't no business, but again, why would you test run a system? So of course, Save draft again, and it says at the top here, this test has been successfully saved, and look, it only says that once there's no errors in the system. So then you go down to order a certificate. Again, why does it default to verification of event? I don't even know what a verification of event is. I know what a standard death certificate and interim death certificate is, so why these two aren't up at the top of the list is beyond me, but of course, that's the way they do. So of course, you click on why you have to click down to the fourth thing on the list when this is what 99% of us are going to be going to. Why it doesn't default to it, beyond me. You of course click one, reason. Again, a bit of a silly question, like, I guess we're next to kin executor. Like, does it really make a difference? Like, if we put in the wrong one here, anyway, I'm digressing, but it doesn't really seem to make any sense. Again, I'm saving it as a draft to make sure I've hit all the right buttons. And submitted with notification. Don't tell me, I have no idea if you click no, if you submit it without notification is going to mean. Delivery options, why standard post and handling, why airmail comes up first. Or, like, why it doesn't go to this one or express post or registered post. I do this because, and then you can put in your informants details. As long as you've entered them incorrectly in the first page, it shouldn't be a problem. Again, save as draft, just to make sure. And then, because I used to just hit next, and for some reason, it doesn't want to work. So then you get to apply for validation. You've got to hit save as draft and then next. Why? Because when that screen makes no sense, it tells you nothing. You don't know really what it's there for, but you do. Then it comes up to this page, and the problem I was having was that I've got here, and all I see at the bottom is save as draft, and I've gone, oh, I'm stuck. What do I do? And I wasn't clicking save as draft, I was just going to my draft list, and it wouldn't let me submit it. What you need to do is make sure you hit save as draft at the bottom here, otherwise it won't let you do. You've just got to make sure you keep saving it as a draft is what I'm trying to say. I've gone back through this again. Next, brings up this nonsense page. What's this about? And I'll look at this and go, oh, no, there's no errors. I'll go back to the thing, but you've got to keep saving as draft and nexting for some reason. And then save this as a draft, and then save this as a draft. And then, because you can't get any further, you go, hang on, what's this? What's going on here? I've kept on hitting save as a draft and it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Yep, It's all in their design for some reason. You've got to go back to your draft list. Now, I'm not going to do this, but as long as it needs to say DRS status ready to submit, certificate status ready to submit, why these boxes aren't next to one another, why we went top, yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. And then you click that, and then you would click submit. I'm not going to do that because I'm not trying to register my own death. I'm actually going to click delete certificate because it's a fakie. And that doesn't even delete the certificate. You've got to then click that and click delete. Nothing makes sense on this system. Absolutely nothing. Now, the other thing I've seen that people are having problem is paying. Now, when I go to pay, I have been using it brings up a box, and it will lead if it's credit card and other things. PayPal. Do yourself a favor, funeral directors, set up a PayPal, use your company credit card or company debit card or even your personal one, because what that does is instead of having to enter your credit card numbers, the anti-security thing on the back, and your end of the date that your credit card runs that day, as long as you've logged into your PayPal on your computer and it remembers it, much like your social media logins, it will just, when you click PayPal in the little thing here, and you'll click, it will come up with a little yellow box that says Pay by PayPal. You click on that, it creates a little pop-up that brings up your PayPal things. And on mine, I have my business credit card for business purposes. I have my personal debit card and my personal credit card, and you can set up your PayPal to default to any one of those. You can click on that and click OK, and instead of having to go through 5 minutes of data entry with your credit card, which gets pretty monotonous, it does it straight away. And PayPal can do you monthly statements and things like that. It's not as if it disappears into the ether. PayPal's a really it really takes the effort out of it. Once you've gone and submitted the death certificate, you have to click on it and click on it here, and then you go down the bottom here and pay for certificate. So I've already paid for these, and why it's wanting to bring up for me to pay for them again is beyond me, but it'll allow you to do that. The way to do it is, of course, as I said, PayPal brings up the yellow thing here, and it brings up the box here. Okay, securely logging on. Securely logging on, and then it just brings up my credit cards here, and you select which one and hit pay now, and it just straight away works. I'm not going to do this because I've already paid for my paid for these, and that's the thing to take. Make sure that you don't inadvertently double pay, because this has showed the flaw in that system. But yeah, that's how you do it. Anyway, if there's any dramas that any of you are having, please give me a call. I'm found in the phone book. My easy number to contact me is 57951 086. And if there's any way I can talk you through getting it to work, I will. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.